Hey, my sisters. Thank you all for joining. Can everybody hear me okay? Put it in the chat if you can hear me. I want to make sure, do a mic check, make sure everybody can hear me, and we're going to get started. And I just want to thank you for joining. Put it in your comment section. Let us know that you hear us. Yes. So we are good to go. So I want to thank you for joining me today. Let's get situated. So, how's everybody doing? So this will be an engaging 60 minutes. And let me just tell you, I want to say welcome to a long awaited virtual launch. This is a celebration of Girl, There's a Champion in You. If you are ready to celebrate some champions in the night, why don't you put a little fist bump or celebratory emoji in the chat and let me know because we deserve to be celebrated. A lot of us talk about celebration, but we don't do it. So put it in the chat. Let us know that you are ready to celebrate some champion. And for those of you who do not know me, I'm Mary H. Davis. I'm a former executive, technically trained boxer, and I am the founder of Women's Level Up Network and the curator of this powerful anthology. And tonight is so special. We're streaming from all over the world. That's right. We got Atlanta in the house. Put it in the chat. We have Charlotte. We have Houston. Let us know where you're hailing from. We have Chi Town. Okay. So I see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is just, it isn't just a book launch. Let me just say that. This isn't just a book launch. This is a celebration of courage. Put it in the chat. Celebration, a tribute to resilience, in honor for women who refuse to stay silent. Now, while this anthology centers around Black women's stories, I'll tell you exactly why in a few minutes. But the truth is in these pages, the pages of the Girl There's a Champion in You anthology book. That truth speaks to every woman who's ever had to fight for her place, prove her worth, or rise from something that tried to break her. And I think we can all identify with that. These stories are a mirror and a window for others. Tonight, you're going to hear from three incredible authors who has been the leader of the pack and blazing their own trail and stepped into the ring. Not only did they step into the ring, but they stayed in the ring. That's the key. A lot of people step in, but they don't stay in. These women stayed in the ring and with their resilience. You'll experience and hear their stories and hear everything that these incredible authors have gone through. You'll experience a framework tonight that will shift how you see your own journey. And later, of course, we will hear from a powerful keynote from the amazing Rashonda Pratt. But first, let's shine the light where it belongs, not on me, but on the women who made this anthology what it is. Let me introduce you to the champion authors. So, the anthology wouldn't have existed without the brave women who trusted me with their stories. Y'all, this was a long haul. Let me just tell you that. It was a long haul. What was supposed to be 3 months to 12 months. But let me tell you, the stories are powerful. And I want to honor each and every woman, all of them, right now. So as I call out their names, put it in the chat, celebrate them, congratulate them, give them some fist bump, whatever you feel to give them the glory, the power, and to celebrate them because we do not do enough of celebrating. And when you celebrate, there's more of that comes. So let's hear it for our authors. Verna Lee Burney, Kenya Cobbs Meyer, Marsha Ford, Tanisha Boswell, Monique Howell, Angel Diggs, Thalisa Moore, April Jacobs, George Smith Reed, Michelle Warren, Tamara Rivers, Portia Videri, Tavana Elliott, and yours truly, Mary H. Davis. Each of these women brought the fire. They brought truth and legacy. So I just want us to thank you. Thank you for saying yes. I want to thank you for saying yes. We want to thank you for saying yes. Thank you for trusting the process. Thank you for being champions. Now, there are a couple of people that I did not call their name. That's because they were the leaders that I mentioned earlier. They were steadfast with resilience. And I want to spotlight these three authors who were the first to not only step in the ring, but they stayed in the ring. It's the stand that most people don't do. You have to learn how to stay in the ring. They led the way with their own vision and their courage, and they made room for me to finish and take us over the finish line. And for that, I want to thank them, and I want you to hear from them. So let me bring them on the screen. So we have Cynthia Holmes. We have Angel Hewins, and we have Monica Alexander. These phenomenal women, they just ran their own race. And what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a moment to hear from each of them. And we're going to start with Cynthia. Cynthia, welcome to the stage. It's so
Thank
good
you.
here. Is your mic
Can you hear
on?
me here? Can you hear me, Mary?
Can you turn it up? I can barely
Um,
hear you.
hold on a second. Closer. Can you hear me? Is that better?
Yes.
Yes. So, Cynthia, let me ask you a couple of questions. So,
Sure.
you sold out in 2 hours, and
Yes.
now you're funding your nonprofit with your book sales.
Yes.
Tell us, first question, what made you um, be willing to step into the ring and say yes to sharing such a vulnerable story? And if you guys haven't gotten the book, you need to get the book and read Cynthia's chapter.
Yes. Sure, Mary. Well, for years, I've always wanted to share my story of my resilience, how through obstacles and challenges I was able to endure because I felt as though it would resonate with some other ladies that have actually dealt with the things that I've went through my life. Not that life was always trauma, but even for the domestic violence, how I encouraged myself and I walked away and never looked back. From within that 7 year span, how I actually lost my family, my entire family. So, but I'm still standing here. So it was an opportunity, like I say, to just share my story, to be maybe a beacon of light to some ladies that are maybe going through some things that I've been through. It was an awesome experience. When I did have my book signing, I was very taken back because it was raining in South Florida, but people showed up. And like Mary said, my book sold out in 2 hours, blew me away. I said, well, God is good then. So it was awesome time. Yes.
That is awesome. So tell us about quickly about your mission and your support and how you're supporting your work and what you're doing. Tell us about the nonprofit that you're funding with this and how people can support you
Yes.
and connect with
So
you.
Yes. So my funding actually being used through Homes Helping Hands Inc., which is a nonprofit organization that works with not only young adults, young people between the ages of 15 to 28. So what the nonprofit does is provide wraparound services for those young people and young adults. We're talking about job placement, resume writing, life skill, financial literacy, everything, every tool right now that they need to be productive citizens in this world. It has been a phenomenal experience to actually see the vision. Walking into my purpose, walking into my destiny, I see it. And Mary, I thank you for kind of pushing me there. You kept saying, you have so much knowledge and your vision. So again, I thank you for just giving me that extra nub through it all. Those
Yeah.
emails and reminding you need to get on, you need to find time. Okay, but I personally do thank you for that.
Thank you, Cynthia. Wow, that is quite amazing. So she is funding her nonprofit with her book sales. And in our story, let me tell you, the floodgates opened when she told her story. I saw her soar and take off. Let me tell you, she's been wearing me out because I've been flying back to South Florida to help her. So, oh, thank you for that, Cynthia. Now we're on to Angel Hewins. Hey, Angel.
Hello, 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 everybody.
Hey, Angel.
So, Angel, this is what I've seen her grow and her confidence grow. Angel sold out before we even had books in hand. So, Angel, I just want to know, and I remember you coming to me, you like, oh, I got a couple of events and we don't have the books. And you didn't let that stop you, did you? You came to me like, I got this thing. Could you do this for me? And we were creative. And she
Yeah.
sold out before she even had the books in hand. So, Angel, what inspired you to get creative with your pre orders?
Um, well, you inspired me as far as just the pre-ordering sales and just promoting it and getting it out. But a lot of it came from this has been a desire and a passion of mine for a minute. And my voice has, I would say, like to say, helped, but it has been, I guess, an inspiration with my family and my friends and my close people that know me, and it needs to get out to the world. So I think a lot of my family and friends were just as excited for me as I was. And so it was like this been a long time coming. This has been it's just been sitting there, and I've been getting pushed. Well, you need to go on and come out. When you go? So I think that was more of the excitement. Like she's done. She's in, and it was the desire to try to what she got to say. So the biggest thing I've been getting so far is like, I want more. I need some more. Like, you want to know more of the story. But I said it did what it was supposed to do within our constructed guidelines. But I think I hit on
Yeah.
several different
Well,
topics.
that's what we're saving the full book
Okay. Okay.
for. So, but yeah, that is amazing. And let me tell you, this woman was creative. She didn't let it stop her. She didn't let the delays stop her. Angel, one last question.
Sure.
So, what are you building now? Why don't you share that about what you're building and how can we support you or how can people connect with you?
Um, Mine is all starting right now from the grassroots up. So as it's building in real time right now. So my organization is Wings of an Angel, and took a quote from the Sparkle movie. Sister can't fly on one wing. And when you got so much on you, when you the hit, got so many pressures on you, you're weighted down, and the wings get weak and broken. And sometimes you just need somebody to help lift that up, just hold it up a little bit, kind of like straightening the crown a little bit. So I'm developing something that I want to be like more of a mentor and consulting and helping. I'm not going to say just young girls, women, and maybe even men, just finding their voice, finding their way, and working on this spiritual healing journey.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. And if you want to connect with Cynthia or Angel, put your name, say connect with Cynthia, connect with Angel in the chat. if you like to follow them, or you could just follow them. Angel and Cynthia put your information in the chat so that our people can know how to follow you and to support you. Next, we have the quiet storm. That's what I call her. She's a very quiet, introverted leader. She believes in having her time. We have Ms. Monica Alexandra. Monica, welcome to the stage. You have been a rock through this entire process. And I'm so glad that you were able to make it tonight.
Thank you, Mary, for having me.
Yes, yes. This is the quiet leader. She's quiet, but she's powerful. Monica, this book came during a season of pause and purpose realignment for you. I love when you posted that on LinkedIn. What did that journey reveal to you? And talk about the pause. Talk about what made you decide to do the book in the pause, in the purpose.
Yeah, thank you, Mary. First of all, that's a great question. And when I think about it, writing this anthology, it truly came during a season of pause. I was changing careers. I won't get too deep, but I had been in a field for over 20 years. And God said, no, I need you to stop. And so this was a season where I'm going to say I was forced. God said no, and it was time for me to step back and reflect and reconnect with my purpose and what He had called me to do. And this process, one, it taught me the power of self-reflection and honesty. And I realized during this season that resilience isn't about it's not about never facing challenges. It's about meeting those challenges head on,
Woo!
being honest with myself, and then choosing to grow through them rather than letting them diminish me. And that was Mary, that was a hard lesson to learn. As I put my story on paper, I discovered that the very experiences that I saw as obstacles. I used to feel some kind of way about being the only woman of color in a room. I'm from the South. I'm from Valdosta, Georgia. And so I used to try to hide my accent when I was in these rooms. And then I used to have to navigate these expectations. And I looked at those as weaknesses, but they were actually sources of strength for me. And so during this pause, during my writing, I learned that vulnerability and faith are powerful, and that my unique journey it's not anything that I need to hide, but it's something that I really, really need to celebrate. And so I'll stop there. But I can go on and on.
Wow.
And on.
Well, that is powerful. I told you she was a powerful sister. She's a powerful leader. Wow, that was powerful. One last question quickly, Monica, because I know that you're working on some great things. And why don't you share with our audience, what do you have going on, how they can connect with you as a part of your purpose? Why don't you share some of the great things that you're doing and how they can connect with you?
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity again. Now that I'm reconnected with my purpose, I'm focused. My husband and I are focused on helping couples, but I'm actually focused on helping women break boundaries and just live a life that's unleashed, embracing who they are, embracing their unique gifts, and walking boldly in their purpose. My husband and I have a marriage ministry and a community that we are building where we champion couples, but knowing that you have to be a strong individual in order to be a strong partner. And so we focus on the individual, we focus on the couple, and then we focus on the family, because we believe that that builds stronger community. And so that's what we're focused on.
How
So
can they connect with you, Monica?
yeah, if you want to connect with us, I will drop our handles in the chat, but you can connect with us. The ministry is Synergy Better Together, and you can find us at Synergy Better Together on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and on Instagram. And then I will drop our website, which is Synergy Better Together, also in the chat.
Wow. So, y'all, let's give a virtual round of applause for these three ladies. Drop it in the chat. Congratulate them for staying in the room. Yay! These women didn't just write words on a paper. They wrote freedom. Did you pick up what I just dropped down? They wrote freedom. They wrote healing. They wrote permission for other women to do the same. Thank you, my sisters. Thank you all for staying in the ring. I know how it feels. It's tough. I love that what you said, Monica. Now, thank you, ladies. Now, let me tell you all what this anthology is all about. You know, let's talk about, Monica mentioned it. I think all of them kind of mentioned it about purpose. I've been asked on more than one occasion, Mary, why did you only include Black women in the stories? Somebody actually on Amazon went out there and gave it a 1-star rating because they said they didn't read it, but it's only for Black women. So let's just clarify that. So y'all can go out there and give us a positive rating. But let's just talk about, why did I only include Black women in the stories? Look at me. And here's my answer. Purpose. Purpose. See, I didn't fully understand when this journey started, that this was about purpose. But as I prepared for the night, I was thinking, what is the word what is this about? And it's purpose. Purpose filled every corner of my spirit. That's the word that I came with. But let me be clear. These are Black women's stories because Black women have been fighting in rings we didn't design, following rules we didn't write, and still showing up as champions. Still showing up as champions. Our stories deserve to be centered, and celebrated, amplified without apology. But here's the truth that lives in these pages. The book, The Girl, There's a Champion in You. When you read about a Black woman overcoming systemic barriers, a Black mother balancing dreams and responsibilities like Kenya Cobb Myers, about a Black executive breaking glass ceilings while healing generational wounds, you're not just reading our story. You're reading about resilience, as Monica said. You're reading about resilience that applies to any woman who's ever been underestimated. Any woman that's ever been underestimated. You're reading about strength that speaks to any woman ready to stop playing small and step into her power. These stories are Black women's truth and their universal wisdom. It's universal. That's the beauty of specificity. It's hard for me to say that word. When you honor one woman's particular journey, you unlock something that sets all women free. So this is about setting us all free. So when I was asked to curate this anthology, I had to take a deep breath. And I thought, I wanted to write a book, but curating an anthology, that really wasn't on my to-do list. I'm a list maker, and that was not one of them. This didn't fit into my plan. But then again, I'm like, okay, something was nagging at me. And I said yes anyway. I was walking into my purpose. All you need to do is say yes. Now, let me keep it real with you. Can I keep it real? As a new entrepreneur, I don't know if I can still call myself new. I'm like 5 years in. I'm going to call myself new. First-time author, this journey tested everything in me. Can we say everything? Put everything in the chat. It tested everything. There were moments when plans fell apart, when I had to rebuild systems mid-flight in the middle of everything. I had to switch the entire platform when I questioned if I had what it took to even finish. You know, those thoughts that run through your head when nobody's listening, looking. But in those moments of doubt, I remembered the champions who raised me. My grandmother, Constance Elaine Hallman, My mother, Minnie Teresa Williams, and my grandfather, Roosevelt Hallman. They taught me something I want you to hear tonight. Obstacles don't disqualify you. Obstacles reveal you. Did you pick up what I just dropped down? Did you pick up what I just dropped down? Drop an emoji in the chat if you picked that up. Obstacles don't disqualify you. Obstacles reveal you. When you dig deep for your faith, your courage, and your why, you discover you were always a champion. My grandfather used to tell me, you're made for this. This is why I love Muhammad Ali, because he knew he was the greatest, and he said that I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest. If I say I'm the greatest, the world would believe it, and he became it. Obstacles don't define you. Obstacles reveal you. Your journey, no matter how messy, how hard, or how uncertain, is connected to your purpose. All you got to do is step into the ring and let your purpose evolve. And your purpose makes you a champion. Your purpose makes you the greatest. So tonight, my purpose is to celebrate getting this done, to celebrate, to honor, and to say, ladies, thank you. And to celebrate the ladies, thank you to my husband, Wesley, who tolerated me spending up all the money, who believed in this when I couldn't see the finish line. Thank you to my mother, Minnie, who wrote the foreword, who showed me that strength doesn't mean you never fail. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. It means you always get back up. You always get back up. Thank you to my daughter, Kiara, who reminds me my representation matters, because how I show up, I'm leading an example for her. Thank you to my friends who heard all of the horror stories and who prayed with me and pushed me and didn't let me quit. And thank you to the 16 women who trusted me with their stories. You didn't just fill the pages, you created legacy. Your words are healing someone right now. Your courage is giving permission to women who's been afraid to share her journey, a woman who's been afraid to share her journey. Your championship is changing what's possible for other women just by you stepping in the ring and sharing your story. If you're in the chat right now and you're feeling what I'm saying, put a fire emoji or fist bump in the chat. Let me know that this resonates with you. Or you could drop I'm a champion, so I can see that this resonates with you. You are a champion. Maybe you've forgotten that, but you already have what you need. All you got to do is step in the ring and stay in there. Don't let it beat you down. Maybe if you've been playing small for way too long, you don't even remember what big feels like. I do. My personality is kind of like a mix of Deion Sanders, Olivia Pope, and Muhammad Ali. I know it's a lot to take in. It's a whole lot to take in. But tonight, this is your night, ladies. Tonight is the time to remind you that we are all champions and there is a champion in you. And it's time to let that champion out, especially in this environment. Especially in this environment. Now, I want to share something with you. We talked about resilience. We talked about being a champion. And, how did they get here? So throughout this process, like I said, it wasn't on my to-do list. I created a framework that helped me and the other women to step into their championship. A framework that's guiding how I build my business. It's kind of what I live by now. Is how I serve my community. And it is how I'm creating impact, the impact that I was born to make. And what I call this framework is my ACV to Lit framework, ACV to Lit. And I believe it's going to unlock something in you tonight. So let me give you a brief insight as to what that framework is. Is that all right? So let's talk about it. And I'm going to catch us up on time. So, all right, so here's the ACV to Lit, because some of y'all are thinking just about like writing a chapter, it's just a book or whatever, but it's a process that you go through. I think Monica kind of hit on that. You know, when you tell your story, it's about strategic positioning. You want to do something else? Learn how to tell your story, because when you tell that story, it brings clarity to you. It's how you get free. It's how you get freedom. So the first step in the ACV to Lit framework is authority. This is why you need to learn to tell your story, publish your story, because ACV stands for authority, credibility, and visibility. When you learn to tell your story, when you become a published author, you have authority based off of your lived experience. Nobody can deny your experience. Last time I checked, your experience is your experience. Authority shows up when you stop waiting for someone else, someone to hand you a mic, and you pick up the pen instead, or your computer, and tell your own darn story about your own lived experiences. When you publish your story, you move from thinking about impact to actually becoming a woman of record. Did you pick up what I just dropped down? It's documented, it's published, it's respect, ladies. Tell your story. Don't hide behind your story, because when you tell your story, that is power. And when you are on record, you start to get credibility. When you are a published author, you get credibility. Credibility gets established when people read your story. They live your experiences. They realize you're not out here just selling a theory. This is your life, your story, your experience. No one can deny what happens to you. And when you get that credibility, then the visibility comes. Now your story has a passport to go from A to B to C to D. It's moving through inboxes, DMs, book clubs, boardrooms, wherever you want to go. It's being shared and discussed and quoted. I remember when I first got the book, and some of my friends wrote it, and they remember some of the stories. One of my friends said, and I'm not going to call her name, she's on the line. She said, I remember that when that happened. How did you know what to say in that moment? Your story is power. Your story is power when you get authority, credibility, and visibility. Authority plus credibility plus visibility gets you what? Lit. It sets you on fire, ladies. You know, you're no longer invisible. The ACV side of this, and most people stop there. They get the authority, they publish the book, and they get a little bit of visibility, and they never take it any further. But it's the lit that gets you on fire, that helps you, propels you into your purpose. What does the lit stand for? LIT, legacy, influence, and transformation. Legacy means your story keeps on living even when you're not here, because once it's in print, it is there to stay. When you're not in the room, it shows up for your daughter. It shows up for your grandkid. It teaches your mentees. It breaks generational curses. And the I in lit influence is when you have the courage and you give courage to someone else's language for their pain. When you tell your story, there are probably 1,000 other people out there who's lived the same thing and thinking that they're alone. You give them courage and you influence them to activate their power. And then the T, transformation. Once you do that, this is how we make change, transformational change, because not only are you changing yourself, you're changing someone else's life. That's the internal shift. That is the shift. And that is how we make the world a better place. When you finally stop asking for permission and you understand who you are you to do this? And you start declaring who I am not. Who am I not to do this? That's when you set the world on fire. That's when you get lit. So let me say this right now. If you've ever wondered whether your story matters, it does. It does. I don't care where you come from or what your story matters. Your experience is your experience. If you ever question whether you're qualified to lead, Your lived experiences already qualifies you, sister. And if you've been waiting for a roadmap to activate that next level, this is it. ACV to lit. And that's what we do with the Women's Level Up Network. We show you how to walk into that ACV and how to set the world on fire. And we stop thinking and second guessing ourselves about whether we're qualified or if we have it. We go on what God gave us, what we have naturally. Your story is not a standalone note. Your story is strategic positioning. You just have to learn how to use it. And speaking frankly, I want to bring, speaking not frankly, but speaking strategy, I want to bring our keynote speaker up. I want to bring a woman who does not just talk visibility and credibility and influence, she embodies it. She's one of the most powerful storytellers I know. She is a former TV news producer turned visibility and communication strategist. She teaches purpose driven brands how to tell their story before someone else tells it for them. That's what I'm talking about. She's been featured on CBS, NBC, and Fox, but more importantly, she's shown up in spaces where women didn't feel seen, just didn't see, and she made sure that she couldn't be ignored. She's a wife, she's a mother, she's a media trailblazer, and tonight she's going to pour into you. I give you my visibility coach, Miss Rashonda Pratt, the incomparable Rashonda Pratt. Welcome to Rashonda to the stage, everybody.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Mary. That was it's such an honor to be here and to see all the stories and to see the impact that you're making from showing up yourself, for taking the time to give yourself visibility. So, can everybody do me a favor? Those who are here watching live, or if you're watching in the replay, can you go ahead and just give a round of applause? Yes. Great cue. Round of applause to Mary, because I think it's absolutely dynamic what she's created and what she's done. There is something beautiful about stories. Stories give permission. And so, congratulations to all of you ladies who have pinned your story. And now you're going to give others, for generations to generations, an opportunity and permission. And so, I'm very excited for you. I want to start off with, I want to have a conversation, right? I know that I'm called the keynote speaker, but I want to have a conversation with you. And I'm going to say something that's going to be pretty tough and hard to hear, but it is necessary to say. And this is something that I believe with everything that's in me, from my years of working 20 years behind the scenes as a television news producer, to leaving television news 7 years ago, betting on myself, starting my own brand online with the Rose Show Live, and transitioning from the Rose Show Live to my personal brand, Rashonda Pratt, and stepping into becoming a communication and visibility strategist and speaker. This is what I know to be true with myself and all of the women that I've had an opportunity to work with. Okay. This is what I know. Being the best kept secret is the best kept lie. Being the best kept secret is the best kept lie. Someone put that in the comment section right here, saying, I am no longer going to be secret. I am no longer going to be in hiding. I'm no longer going to be secretive, right? Because the truth is, your story, your wisdom, your expertise was never meant to be hidden. It wasn't, ladies. It was never meant to be hidden. Now, let me acknowledge something. What you've already done, you've done something that's pretty remarkable, right? You wrote a book while running a company, while leading a team, while managing a career, and that takes discipline that most people will never ever do. So I celebrate you. But here's the problem that I see so many times with dynamic people like yourself. Most people, most executives book die within 6 months of the launch. Let me say that again. Most executives' books die within 6 months of the launch. Not because the book is not valuable, because the author disappeared after the announcement post. See, you created this book, you wrote this book, you see my book there, Visibility is Power, not to just sit on your shelf. You wrote this book not for it just to stay in the box that it came in. You wrote this book because you desire to have real impact. You desire to take your life experience, your story, your journey, all of those things, and you desire to put that in a book so that way you could go help somebody else. You put it in a book because you want to shrink someone else's process. You don't want anybody else to have to deal with the pain that you dealt with. You spent 6 to 24 months writing. You invested your time, your energy, and probably a significant amount of money in editing, design, publishing, right? You let Mary hold you accountable. You did all of these things. You distilled your decades of hard-won wisdom into pages. And then it's silence. Silence. Today, I want to change that. Because what I need you to understand is your visibility, you showing up to be seen and heard, is not vanity. It's your responsibility. So let's talk a little bit about what is costing you by staying hidden, by staying invisible, what it's actually costing you. And we're not just talking about book sales. It's a thing that I like to call the visibility tax. That every single day that you are not showing up to talk about your book, every day you're not showing up in your expertise, every day that you're not showing up in your credibility, you are paying for it somewhere down the line. And let's talk about a couple of ways that you pay for it. You pay for it in board appointments. I know that there was one person who shared a story earlier about that she's been able to create this book, and this book has helped her to support her nonprofit. Because what we know is when you put yourself out there, or even if you don't, people are Googling you. Some of you, if this is your first time ever experiencing me, Rashonda Pratt, the name's right there on the screen. Feel free to Google me. I'm not concerned about what's on the internet about me, but people are going to Google you. And when they Google you, what are they going to find? Are they going to find an empty LinkedIn profile? Are they going to find a book listing that no one is talking about? Right? So when you are not Googleable, I know I just made that up. When people can't find you on Google, you are almost, or can we just say hidden? Because people are Googling you. So that means you don't get the opportunity to be on certain boards that can advance your work and certain boards that can benefit from what you do. Speaker fees. When you are hidden and people don't know you, you miss on opportunities that can pay you 10,000, 25,000, even 100,000. Because conferences are looking to book speakers who are online, people that they hear on podcast or read about in a magazine. So your book, what it does, it qualifies you, but visibility books you. Your book qualifies you now as credible. You wrote a book, it was published, people are buying and engaging with it, but it's your visibility that books you. That now that people are seeing you showing up online, sharing and telling your story, that's how you get booked. You also have an opportunity to be an advisor to a company or consulting opportunities, or even to grow your product or service. And you can't do that if people don't even know that you exist. Strategic partnerships and conversations. When you're visible as a thought leader, you're on the radar for partnerships and deals. Invisibility means you're not even in consideration. You're not even in consideration. Let's talk about this, the next generation. The thing that's really beautiful about a book is that it's now published and now it can outlive you. We're going to talk a little bit about legacy here in a few moments, but it can outlive you. So now you've created this product, this service that now young leaders in your industry are learning from someone. Is it you? Because if you're invisible, you are giving them the opportunity to learn from someone who took the time to show up, but really is not qualified like you. If you ever scrolled on social media and did one of these things like, I can't believe this went viral. I can't believe people are listening to this. This person is not even telling the truth. I can't believe. You better believe it, because they decided to show up when you still were playing hide and seek. You were still the best kept secret, which again, as I told you before, is the best kept lie. So there's real money, there's real influence, there's real impact to be made in this digital space. And I am proof of it. I am the woman who worked 20 years behind the scenes as a television news producer, but didn't like her voice and didn't like how she looked on camera. I was very uncomfortable being in front of this camera. It was like deer in headlights. If you go look at my first videos, you don't have to tell me they're bad. I'm going to tell you they are horrible. But I built my visibility confidence in real time, sometimes in front of strangers. Why? Because I just believe that I have a message. And I know for all of you who took the time and invested your energy, your attention, and your time in your book, you believe you have something to say. If you believe you have something to say, give me a thumbs up in the chat. Say, yeah, I believe I have something to say. So if you have something to say and you believe that, why are you still quiet? It has to be in support of the book, that the book is out there, is being promoted, but I also have to marry that with my voice. Here's what I learned. 20 years working behind the scenes as a television news producer, building a 6-figure plus brand. This is what I've learned. You don't just have a story. Ladies, you are the story. Facts tell, but stories sell every single time. And you have a responsibility to tell your story, to tell your narrative. We saw that Mary just talked about the ACV to LIT framework. But I know for many of you, what's holding you back? You think it's the story. You think it's perfectionism. You think it's, I don't know how to start. I don't know where to begin. I've already done some things, Rashonda, with selling my book, and that's enough. You think it's all those things. And it's a little bit of those things, but I'm going to challenge you that's bigger. And the reason why you just go just to the edge, but not all the way over with being totally visible. The reason why you start and stop. The reason why you have the books, but you still haven't sold them because they're still in the box. What is holding you back is you're not convinced. You're not convinced about your own genius. You're not convinced about your own worthiness. You're not convinced about how dynamic God has created you. You're not convinced that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. You are not convinced, because convinced people speak up. Convinced people speak up. One of my favorite Native American proverbs says this: those that tell the stories rule the world. Those that tell the stories rule the world. It didn't say the story had to be accurate. And we can see that in the world that we're living in right now, that we have people who are so convinced with their lie that they're willing to tell it, and other people believe it as truth. And here you are with your truthful self, written your own story, your own narrative, which means no one can debate you about your own journey and story. And yet you're not convinced, you're not convicted enough to show up and tell it. Your story matters. Because right now, there's someone who is praying for a solution that you are. Right now, there's someone who is currently navigating what you have mastered. Right now, there is someone who is trying to show up in a certain way, do something that you have already discovered, mastered, and had the cheat code from. And they're in pain because you won't show up. So, my final thoughts to you is all of this that we're doing with being seen, heard, and paid because your visibility is power goes back to what I like to talk about legacy. 10 years from now, when someone Googles your name or ChatGPT your name, what do you want them to find? What do you want to be in the digital space? Because the reason why we show up online, that's my jam. The reason why we create video, what I love, the reason why we do all of those things is not to go viral, not to feed the algorithm or beat the algorithm. The reason why we do all of those things is very simple. We are leaving a legacy, a proof that I was here. We're leaving a legacy, a blueprint that someone can not only pick up the book and read your story, but now they can go see the content where you can go deeper through video, telling your story and sharing your narrative. But you have to decide. When I think about legacy content, I think about my dear friend. You see her right there over my shoulder. Yeah, right there in purple, my friend Capricia. I lost her last year to a terminal illness. And one of the things that I discovered about the content and creating and content creates legacy is that 2 weeks before she went home to be with the Lord, she did a Bible study in her private Facebook group. This is the same private Facebook group of 500 women that she never wanted to start. She always knew she was gifted as a teacher. She always knew that she had a story and something to say, but she wanted to keep it small. She wanted to keep it intimate. She really didn't want to have to steward a lot of people. She really didn't want to be seen in front of all these people. Well, as you can imagine, you can't be my friend and I not push you to be visible. And so after months and months of having this conversation about showing up, she finally decided to start a Facebook group and make sure that Facebook group was open so that women could be a part of it. Well, one of the things that I discovered when I went into her Facebook group of 500 women and had to share with them that our dear sister is no longer with us. In the days and weeks that followed, I started getting all of these notifications. And all of these women were going back in her group and watching the last devotional that she did 2 weeks before she passed. They started going back and rewatching videos that she and I had done together or watching other devotionals that she did. They were watching all of her repeat content. I remember even hearing someone say, I went back and watched a Bible study because I just wanted to hear her voice. See, you already started this legacy process of visibility by writing your story. But I want to encourage you to take it to the next level and now leave a digital footprint that when you are no longer here, your children, your grandchildren, your great grandchildren now have a legacy of your voice and your story. Just imagine if our grandparents had the use of a smartphone and technology that we could have recorded their voice and recorded their story and recorded their narratives to share with the next generation. See, the reason why we create content is not just about promoting yourself. You are positioning your purpose. So your story is your superpower. Your visibility is your responsibility, and your legacy is waiting. So my challenge to you, what will you do with what you started? Writing this book is just the beginning, but now it's time to go to the next level. This is what you need to understand. You no longer have the right to remain silent. Your silence isn't golden. Your visibility is power. You deserve to be seen, heard, and paid. And I'm cheering you on. Thank you so much. I'm Rashonda Pratt, Communication and Visibility Strategist. Make sure to follow me across all social media as Rashonda Pratt, but specifically on LinkedIn and on Instagram as official Rashonda Pratt. Mary, I turn it back over to you.
Woo! Can y'all hear me? Was that not good? I love her. She is one of the best, and I've had a few, one of the best coaches I have ever had.
Thank you,
Let me
Mary.
tell you. And I am determined. Can we put her book thing back up there for 1 second? I am determined to implement everything that she has verbally taught me and coached me. I'm just a little late getting into the game, but I always tell her I'm working on it.
Yes, you are.
She's like, I see you, and determined to implement this book, Visibility is Power. And I got a little special special gift for all of our authors, along with some additional stuff that you are getting. You will each get a copy of the Visibility is Power book, compliments of me for staying in the ring, so that you
Yay!
can go set the world on fire. So you can verify with Rashonda. They've already been ordered,
Yes.
and we will be shipping those out to you along with some other goodies for you, so that you can go and be lit. Like Rashonda said, silence is no longer an option.
No.
So Rashonda talked about, what do you want to do? So let me just tell you what we have done. This book is also a resource in our executive edition. So today, this first anthology, this is a series.
Wow.
So you've ever heard of Chicken Soup in the Soul? So Girl That's a Champion You, there's going to be volume 1, volume 2, volume 3 on different
Nice.
topics. And the next one is the executive edition, specifically for women in leadership, specifically for women who has had to be the only one in the room, and how you had to make the tough decisions. What did you say? How did you show up? To share your stories with them. And we're making Rashonda's book one of our primary resources. So authors, you will get a copy, and we will move on to, if you're interested in hearing about our ACV to Lit, we use her book as one of the frameworks, and we will be covering that in our VIP sessions. So let me just tell you about some changes that would happen with our VIP and what we're doing with that. If we can bring the VIP stuff up. So we've made some additional changes with the VIP. Yeah, you've all been getting the thing, and we like $97, $97. So tonight only until midnight, and if you've already paid, we will work on getting you that credit. We are reducing it to $47. Yep, and we're going to have 5 mini sessions of helping you get to your first story, ACV to Lit. We're going to help you identify what that is, and we will get you all of the replays. So we'll have 5 mini sessions, and you will get all of the replays for $47 if you sign up tonight by midnight. So, and the next thing with this VIP, it's going to start next week because it's late. So we're going to let you go to sleep tonight instead of hosting it. We just wanted to make sure people got home and got settled. So it's going to start next week, and you'll get the notification. And if you miss it, don't worry about it, because you'll get the recordings, and we're going to have that for you. This is our way of answering any questions. You'll have those recordings for 30 days. Yeah. So we're on a new system. We're rocking and rolling now, and you're going to get all of the things that you want. And plus, you're going to come out with one action to help you step into that legacy. At least one. You probably get more than that, but you'll have one action. And if you already, thank you, Carla. I see that you've signed up, and you're welcome for the discount. All right, Anita. So if you think that you might have a story, but let me just tell you, you do have a story. Every person has a story, and every person has a purpose. And if you're wondering, if you're contemplating, join us for the VIP session. It doesn't make a difference, and they're just 30-minute quick sessions. And if you can't make it, you can get the recording, because you know this is a digital world. We need to do things on our own time. You get an action, you will get one action that's going to start you to that next phase of your journey, to a next phase of your legacy. So I just want to thank you all for taking the time this evening and for joining us. And thank you and congratulate the authors. And let me just say, you have 11:59 p.m. and then the price goes back up to $97. So if you want the discount and you want 5 mini sessions, you will come out at least understanding what your story, what you might want to tell your story on, and the one action you need to take for stepping into your legacy, stepping into your purpose. Because like Rashonda said, you cannot afford to be silent. You cannot afford to be silent. It's not an option, especially in this environment. So we are a little over, and I just want to, oh, that's perfect timing. I just want to thank you all for joining me. I am Mary H. Davis, your technical boxer, founder of Women's Level Up Network. And I want to thank you. Purchase the books from the ladies. Purchase the book online and hear their stories, celebrate our story, because our story is every woman's story. Did you get that? Our story is every woman's story. And if you're interested in learning more about the ACV to Lit or learning more about our executive edition, join us in the VIP. We will have Q&A, you get hot seat coaching, and you can ask me all the questions you want. And thank you, and have a great night.
Every woman who dared to rise, say her name, tell her story, watch her win. Make this fast, fierce, and unforgettable. This is the soundtrack for women reclaiming their story, shifting atmospheres and shaking rooms. Every woman who dared to rise, say her name, tell her story, watch her win. Make this fast, fierce, and unforgettable. This is the soundtrack for women reclaiming their story, shifting atmospheres and shaking rooms. Every woman who dared to rise, say her name, tell her story, watch her win. Make this fast, fierce, and unforgettable. This is the soundtrack for women reclaiming their story, shifting atmospheres and shaking rooms. Every woman who dared to rise, say her name. Every woman who dared to rise, say her name. Tell her story. Watch her win. Make this fast, fierce, and unforgettable. This is the soundtrack for women reclaiming their story, shifting atmospheres and shaking rooms.